Hello pot pickers and welcome to the United Stand Chart Show. It's week 2. I'm so excited. I love this show. So we'll be counting down from 10 to 1, the top 10 Manchester United players this week. But just as a reminder, last week at number 10 we had Lindelof, at number 9 we had Matic, at number 8 we had Maguire, number 7 was Bruno as a new entry, number 6 Rashford on the drop with his injury, number 5 Luke Shaw, number 4 Brandon Williams, number 3 David De Gea, number 2 Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and our number 1 was Fred last week. So I can tell you this week we've had 2 players dropping out of the top 10, 2 new entries, one of them particularly high new entry. So let's get straight into it, and as you can see Brandon Williams has dropped from number 4 last week to number 10 this week. But what I would say is in the week of the Brits, this is very reflective of Manchester United because we've got lots and lots of talent, good performances this week. The Brits had got Dave and Stormzy and Lewis Capaldo. Well, we've got some big performances for Manchester United this week. And this is what we want to see between now and May. Big performances from lots of players, making it hard for us in the top 10. And I just want to say about Brandon Williams as well. This is not a bad reflection on Brandon Williams. I think he's a young player with great talent. You know what? He's like a young new talent coming through in the music industry. He's had a good hit. He's not going to be a one-hit wonder, but he's got to find his way. And as a young player, I think he needs a bit of rest. I think he needs to keep hungry. And I think he's just typical young player, really. The inconsistency will be there. We've seen it with Chelsea and what's happened with their players. So Brandon Williams, not great against Club Brugge. I thought he did well against Chelsea. But look, it's not just about him playing badly against Club Brugge anyway. It's about the quality of players and performances this week. It's going to be hard to get in the top 10. Just ask Andreas Pereira. He's nowhere near. But in at number 9 then, Nemanja Matic. He was number 9 last week. He's held on to that number 9 spot. I thought he played well against Chelsea, not so well against Club Brugge, but I think that was because of the players that he had playing around him. Matic has been steady over this last month and a very important player for Manchester United. And Harry Maguire was number 8 last week. He holds on to number 8. Now, some people would say Harry Maguire should be moving up. He scored his bullet header, that one we've been waiting all season for, against Chelsea. He had a good performance against Chelsea. It was a clean sheet against Chelsea. But I think the quality of players that have done better than him this week have prevented him moving up the pitch, up the charts. But also, it's also the fact that against Club Brugge, I think again he suffered in this back 5. Most of our defenders didn't play well against Club Brugge last night, or Thursday night as it was. And I think that lack of pace thing for Harry Maguire was a bit of a problem. So Harry Maguire holding on to number 8 spot but not getting any higher. But let me just bring in here 888 Sport, the link's in the video description for this video. Who is the biggest club in London? We've got the whole top 4 race at the moment. Are Arsenal in the race? Are Chelsea and Spurs definitely are in the race? Well, this is an interesting video. A little clip for you here.
Yeah, you're looking confused because you got no history, fam. You got no history. The only history you got on is on your laptop, fam.
Right, this needs to be settled once and for all now. Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, who's the biggest club?
Not him.
No. Yeah,
Check that out, the link in the video description. Who is the biggest club in London? For me, I think if you're talking about trophies, you could argue that it's Arsenal or Chelsea. If you're talking about now, you've got to bring into the equation that is 4th place better than getting to a Champions League final like Spurs did last year? But link in the video description, check that out at the end. Who do you think's the biggest club in London? There's certainly an opportunity to get over there and banter Arsenal fans if that's what you want to do. I've left my comments on that video as well. You can check that out. But back into the United Stand top 10, and in at number 7, David De Gea. Now, David De Gea was in at a high number 3 last week. What has he done wrong to drop, say many people to me when they see this chart, which is maybe the first time for you now? Well, I'll tell you this. It's to do with the quality of content, quality of performance that we've got coming into the chart this week. David De Gea only played 1 game, didn't play against Club Brugge, but he did get a clean sheet, didn't have a hell of a lot to do. Nothing to do with David De Gea doing anything wrong that's causing him to drop from 3 to 7. There's nothing he could do, really. Do you want David De Gea to be getting in at number 1? Not really. I don't want him to be pulling off worldie after worldie because it doesn't mean we're defending well. But David De Gea It's still in the top 10, not done anything wrong, just dropping down to number 7 from number 3 because we haven't really needed him this week, have we? In at number 6, our first new entry, and who would have predicted this? Last week there was no mention of Eric Bailly. We're now talking about Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire being our best centre-back partnership. But what a performance it was against Chelsea. Didn't play against Club Brugge, played against Chelsea, been out for months and months and months. You know what Eric Bailly reminds me of? He reminds me of if someone like Adele came out with a new album. Not been around for a while, but quality's there. I don't think Adele suffers with loads of injuries, but Eric Bailly certainly does. But from a music point of view, he's good. He's good. And he's been out for a while. And I think that, to me, was why Eric Bailly deserves this high new entry at number 6, because he was superb against Chelsea. Quick, strong, confident on the ball. Yeah, he's a little bit rusty. Probably needs a bit of that spray, that WD-40. Not WKD. Don't drink WD-40 and don't put WKD on your doors if it's squeaking. WD-40 is that stuff you spray that's on rusty stuff. WKD is that stuff you drink when you're a teenager. Over 18, 19, you can drink it. Don't drink it below that. But definitely don't drink WD-40. So in relation to Eric Bailly, fantastic performance from him last week. He is in at number 6. So number 5 this week, and he was number 5 last week, and he deserves these plaudits, Luke Shaw. And I tell you what, holding on to the number 5 spot this week and being in the top 5 this week just shows you the consistency of Luke Shaw over the last month. No injuries, playing out of position, playing against good opposition as well. He's played left centre-back against Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool in the last month and has not put a foot wrong. He's been absolutely superb in those games. He was man of the match against Club Brugge as well. Some people might say that maybe Luke Shaw should be a bit higher this week. Maybe he deserved to go up a space or two. But he's held on to number 5 for the second week in a row. Luke Shaw is in the top 5 and doing it out of position as well. I mean, he's a left-back, really. I don't see a future for Luke Shaw as a centre-back in a back 5. We don't want that for United, but he has been the one shining light in that position. Very, very good as a left-sided centre-back. And long may it continue, because consistency has always been the thing with Luke Shaw, but certainly deserves the plaudits, and very, very happy for him. Number 4, Bruno Fernandes. I don't think anybody could argue with that. He came in at number 7 last week after a good, okay performance against Wolves. I mean, I say okay because he was playing as a centre defensive midfielder, but in the last week we've really seen the quality of Bruno Fernandes. Not even the full quality, really. 10-minute cameo against Club Brugge on Thursday night. Put everybody to shame, especially Mata, Pereira and Lingard, who'd been on for 80 minutes, and in 10 minutes Bruno Fernandes did more than all 3 of those had done combined. Against Chelsea, gets the assist for Harry Maguire to put that first header in that we'd all been waiting months for. Didn't really have a lot of the ball against Chelsea, but could have had 2 assists and hit the post as well. So I think with Bruno Fernandes, you can see that star quality, and that's why this week he's moved from 7 to 4. And I think Bruno Fernandes could be one of those wet, love is all around you number 1s, where they build their way up the charts gradually and then they hold on to that number 1 spot. He is going for that. He's moving up the charts. I always used to like these sort of songs as a kid when the charts actually meant something, where something would be in. It's in new at number 8. Next week it's at number 5, number 2, and it's finally hit number 1 after a month, and then it's there for ages. And I think that's what Bruno Fernandes is doing. He's getting better and better by the game. He's been a very, very quick learner, quick settler, whatever you want to call it, and he's in at number 4. But our highest new entry of the week is this man. Wasn't even in contention for the top 10 last week, Anthony Martial. He's in at number 3 as our highest new entry, and what a week it's been for Anthony Martial. Fantastic header against Chelsea, absolutely world-class header the way he flicked it in. That got us a 1-0 ahead, and then last night against Club Brugge, or Thursday night against Club Brugge I should say, he single-handedly got us the point. That was a mistake by Club Brugge. He picks it up in his own half, runs the length of the pitch and puts it away. The one big chance we had as the game, and it was totally off Anthony Martial, who some people say is lazy, who some people say is not interested. Well, he's definitely been interested this week, and he's definitely been interested all season. Adapting to a new role, I think he's doing absolutely superb. in a situation where he's living off scraps, well, he's feeding himself. He's going out there hunting. You know, he ain't waiting in some cave for people to bring his dinner home, because you can't wait for... You ain't going to get fed by our midfield. He's going out there with his spear, and he's going out and getting his own food, isn't he? Or maybe he's vegetarian. Maybe he's going out with just his hands and picking some salad. But he's feeding himself, and that is the most important thing. So Anthony Martial fully deserves... And I don't think Anthony Martial's played superbly this week. But as the number 9, he's gone and got the 2 goals that you need him to get. So fully deserves that number 3 spot. Well done, Anthony Martial. And again, a bit like Bruno, can he go on over the next week and move up the charts even further? That's the challenge. People think, oh, it's a bit of a joke having a United chart show. But actually it isn't. I really hope that the players do see all this, because this chart, I love doing this show, but it's actually quite a serious element to it as well. Like, who's doing well, who's moving up, who's not even in the top 10. So, yeah, we'll be looking at it over the weeks ahead. Number 2, he was number 2 last week. He is a number 2. He's a right back. His name is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And number 2 last week, and he's held on to that spot this week very, very well. Gone and got his assist. Defensively, he's titanium. Nothing gets past him. Didn't play against Bruges. Played superbly well against Chelsea again. So many good performances in that team on that game. Maybe not a great team performance, but some good individual performances, like I say. Again, with Wan-Bissaka, I remember at least 2 times where he made great tackles to stop what could have been Chelsea goals. But most importantly with Wan-Bissaka, he finally gets that assist. He could have had a few assists over the last month. Poor finishing, not enough movement in the box. But what a finish it was by Martial from a great cross from Wan-Bissaka. He got his assist. He defended well again. I feel that Wan-Bissaka, can he get hold of that number 1 spot? What more can he do to get it? But like he's been for United all season, how will he fall out? You know, I feel that Wan-Bissaka could be that one that's always in the top 3. Maybe he won't get number 1. Maybe some weeks he will. But will he ever drop out of the top 2 or 3? He's been that good all season. So well deserved for Wan-Bissaka. And number 1 for the second week in a row, Fred. Number 1, Fred, again. I don't think anybody could complain about that. Again, against Club Bruges, he comes on like Bruno Fernandes and grabs hold of the midfield. He was on for a little bit longer. I saw a silly stat, and you see these stats sometimes, where somebody tweeted out and it got loads of retweets and likes, and you think, I'm not even going to bother replying because idiots are retweeting this. And it was basically, Fred and Lingard have got the same amount of assists as Alisson and Mingale. And I'm like, but that's not Fred's game. All right, Lingard, fine. Can't you put Lingard and Pereira or something like that? Or does it not fit your agenda there? But Fred is not there to create chances. He's not there to score goals, which is lucky because he'd score more points in rugby. But Fred's job is to be the engine, to win the ball back, to keep the ball going, to get hold of the midfield. And he did that superbly well against Chelsea. I mean, I can't remember whether I gave him man of the match or I might have given it to Bruno, I can't remember. But he was definitely in contention again against a good Chelsea midfield. I know Kante went off after 10 minutes, but that's a good Chelsea midfield. And I think that gave us the platform to win the game. And I think offensively we weren't that good against Chelsea, but defensively the midfield did very, very well. And Fred is that tenacious midfielder that we want. And it's going to be very hard to shift him. 2 weeks in a row at number 1. How do you think it's going to happen? How do you think that's going to change? And I'll tell you what I love about this show. It reminds me of harking back to my youth on a Saturday morning, putting the chart show on. Well, now on a Saturday morning, you can put the United Stand chart show on, because for the second week in a row, it is Fred at number 1. And of course, over next week, we've got Watford and Club Brugge second leg. So there's 2 games there for players to get into contention. Disappointments of the week. Look, Lindelof's dropped out. Obviously, Rashford's dropped out. He's injured. That's going to happen. If you're not playing games, you're not going to be in the top 10. But there were players that played this week that could maybe have been forcing themselves in there and putting themselves in with a chance. The Delos, the Pereiras, the Matas, the Lingards. But Eric Bailly did do that. Eric Bailly, big story of the week, in at number 6. You'd expect him to start against Watford. Let's hope he can stay injury-free. And of course, a big shout out to Anthony Martial, the highest climber, the newest entry, in at number 3. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm loving doing this. There is a serious element to it as well. This is a guide to who's doing well for United and who's not doing well. What, do you agree? Have I over-egged the pudding a bit? Is there some players that deserve to be lower? Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and look, I'm loving doing these, so keep watching them and keep getting involved and keep putting your comments in. But Fred is number 1 for this week. And make sure that you do check out the 888 Sport video as well. Who is the biggest club in London? Links in the video description. Troops, Expressions and Rory going at it. check out my comment on there as well and give it a watch.